Many people say things like, I don't know why I'm so unhappy. I don't know why my life is such a mess. I don't know what to do to make my life better. And they'll say, I'll try anything to make it better. Then they proceed to try everything: yoga, Reiki, self medicating, therapy, astrology, sound bath, self help books, diet changes, and a lot more. Then I'll hand them a Bible and say, Here, try this. It's free. And they're like, Nah, I'm good. Thanks. So what they're basically saying is, I'll try anything, no matter how expensive it is, anything except Jesus, even though it's free. But here's the thing. Most self-help content isn't designed to help you solve your problems. It's designed to make you feel a little bit better moment to moment. It's designed to keep you dependent, like a drug, and coming back for more. And that emotional relief can feel like you're making progress, but you are actually not changing. And if you're not careful, you'll confuse emotional relief and real action, and that will keep you stuck. Then 3 years, 5 years, or even 10 years down the line, you'll be wondering, how the hell did I get here? And here's the uncomfortable part. Many creators give you a villain to blame your problems on. Sometimes that villain is men. Sometimes that villain is women. Sometimes it's society. Sometimes it's your parents. Sometimes it's your ex. And sometimes it's just toxic people. But blame will never create transformation, and it will never get you to the result you're after. Why? Because the only person you actually have control over is yourself. So the question you must ask yourself is, do you actually want your life or relationship to improve? Or do you just want to continue to feel like you are right about who or what is causing your problems, even though nothing in your life actually changes? Because being right can feel good enough as long as you have constant ways to numb, distract, or validate yourself moment to moment. But it will never help you reach your relationship goals. So, if you truly want to understand why you're stuck, check the content that you consume most often. Your content diet will expose your priorities, what you're avoiding, and your willingness to change. In other words, what you watch, listen to, and read most often reveals what matters to you most. So the question is, do you truly want to transform your life? Or do you want other people to transform just so you don't have to? People will work endlessly for money, but then become passive about the two things that shape their lives the most: their spirituality and their relationships. When it comes to chasing money, promotions, or status, they'll study, work, and sacrifice for years. But when it comes to their spirituality and their love life, people suddenly become incredibly lazy, and they outsource responsibility. People will say things like, I left Christianity because it's false. But the more you ask them questions, the more you realize that they never actually knew what Christianity actually was, because they never actually studied the Bible for themselves. And they outsource their relationship with God to their pastor, their church, their parents, or to the culture around them. And we do the exact same thing in relationships. Instead of learning ourselves, our patterns, our emotions, and our wounds, we crown our feelings king, even though we have no idea where our feelings actually come from. So we confuse hearing advice with doing the work, and we confuse feeling something with changing something. And then years go by and nothing in our life or relationship has actually improved. Here's the thing, the devil has no new tricks, but the tricks he does have are incredibly effective with human beings. And one of his most effective tricks is this: when we're in pain, we become impulsive. And when the pain passes, we become forgetful. And that cycle keeps us stuck for years. And that is exactly why we all need Jesus. Because human beings need something unchanging to anchor our identity, our decisions, and our actions to. Because feelings are fleeting. One moment you're angry, the next moment you're calm. One moment you're certain, and the next moment you're completely confused. If your life is anchored to your feelings, your life will become completely chaotic. Not necessarily chaotic on the outside, because some people are very good at looking perfectly put together on the outside. They have a good job, they're in shape, they have a beautiful house, and they smile in every photo. But internally, they're lost, confused, and exhausted. And that's why we're often shocked when someone who has everything put together tells us they've been struggling with depression for years. Because we confuse external, usually financial stability, with internal peace. And if we're honest, our secular culture is incredibly good at teaching people how to pretend like they're happy. They say it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert at something. At this point, most of us are experts at performing happiness. And that is exactly where secular culture has misled people. Because it tells us we're free because we can follow whatever we feel at any moment. But that's not freedom. That's emotional dysregulation masquerading as self-empowerment. So we live unintegrated lives. We think we're free, but we're actually stuck repeating the same cycles over and over again. And then the culture tells us to take our power back. But that raises a question. What power did we supposedly have before that we lost? The power to do what exactly? Because if our lives are ruled by whatever we feel in the moment, that is not power. That's chaos. And that's why we need something outside of ourselves, something stable, true, and unchanging to anchor our lives to. And here's a heads up, that something isn't a guru, it isn't a new career, and it isn't a new partner. It must be something outside of this world. Because the truth is, nothing in this broken world can help you keep your peace intact.